Today, in the subject History of Class 10, I am going to start the topic The Rise of Nationalism in Europe. Before understanding this chapter, let us understand the certain terms related to this chapter. Those terms are absolutism, utopian, nationalism, plebiscite, nation state, nation, serf, etc. Now let us understand the term absolutism. What do you mean by absolutism? Is such a government which has no restraint or restriction on its power. It is a government which acts arbitrarily. It is mainly found in the monarchical system of government. In this system, what happens? The king's words are law. There is no written laws in that country. Whatever the king will say, that will become the law. And how does a king execute such laws? With the help of military power. Means role of military increases in that system. Naturally, where there will be military rule, naturally it will be repressive in nature. It will be oppressive in nature. And the whole power will be concentrated in the hands of the king. So absolutism refers to a monarchical system which is centralized, militarized and repressive in nature. Just you see, literally a government or system of rule that has no restraints on the power exercise. Who is exercising the power? It is the king. In history, it refers to a form of monarchical government which is centralized, militarized and repressive. This is the meaning of the term absolutism. Now let us understand the term utopian. What is this? Utopian is an ideal society which is unlikely to exist. Such a society where everything will be very good, everything will be nice, nobody will tell lie, nobody will steal, everybody will cooperate each other, no jealousy will be there, will work together as a team. If we imagine such a society, that imagination is known as utopian idea. Means it talks of an ideal society where everything will be good, everything will be congenial, everyone will be happy. So such type of imagination is called utopian imagination, or you can say utopian concept. A vision of society that is so ideal that is unlikely to actually exist. This is called the utopian idea. Now let us talk of another term, nationalism. Nationalism means what? You will always hearing this term in context of India also, in context of European countries also. Nationalism is nothing but desire to get freedom. Desire to get freedom, when you have, then nationalism comes up. And if that feelings come, it acts as a force. As you have seen in our country also, when nationalism was inculcated among the people of India, the people gave their lives for freedom of our country. So it brings sweeping changes in the political and mental aspect of the life. Whether it can be Europe, whether it can be any country, or it can be India, China and all. So desire to get freedom emerged as a force which brought sweeping changes in the political and mental world of Europe. You can say in India also, but since we are talking of nationalism in Europe, that's why I am describing the term nationalism in context of Europe. Now, next term is plebiscite. What is this? Plebiscite is a direct vote by which all the people of a region are asked to accept or reject a proposal. Suppose a proposal is given to them and then voting is being done and it is being asked whether you accept this proposal or whether you reject this proposal. So this is called the plebiscite, a direct vote in order to reject or accept the proposal. Then we come to the another term, that is the nation state. What do you mean by this? It is the one in which the majority of its residents as well as the rulers develop a sense of common identity and shared history or descent. For example, India is a nation state. Then all the people of India, the government, they share the common identity, isn't it? They share the common history. They share the common descent. So when both the subjects and the rulers have common identity and they are staying in a particular boundary, India has a particular boundary, those residents and the rulers who will share the common history, that area, that country is called the nation state. Now we will proceed further for the other terms like modern state. You have understood nation state because it will have a defined boundary where the rulers and subject will have common identity, descent or history. Then what is the modern state? India is a modern state today. What it has? It has a territory, it has a population, it has sovereignty, it has government. So a centralized power exercises sovereign control over a clearly defined territory. India has a clear defined territory. With the Pakistan we have Radcliffe line, with the China we have McMahon line. So a clear defined territory is there. And the government is centralized. And what does mean by sovereign? Sovereign means no country will interfere in the internal and external matters of India. This is called sovereignty. India is a sovereign state. Even it is written in the preamble, we the people of India solemnly resolve to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So India is a sovereign country. Nobody can interfere in our internal and external matters. So modern state is what? It will be centralized, it will be sovereign, it will have a clear defined territory, it will have population. So that type of state is called the modern state. Now comes to understand the term nation. What does nation mean? Nation is nothing but the population of the country. The population of the nation state. The people living in the nation state is called nation. Now let us understand the term serf. What is serf? Serf are peasants. They are peasants bound with the estates owned by the aristocrats, means the landlords. Landlords have the land and they are bound to it. In simple terms, we can say that these peasants are tied to the lands. These peasants cannot change their master. Very interesting fact is there. Today, anybody can go to work in field of anybody's land. He or she is free to change the master. But in condition of serf, it was not like that. A serf could change master only when the landlord sold that land to another person. For example, Mr. A owns land and in that land serfs work. And Mr. A sells land to Mr. B. So Mr. A not only will sell the land, but along with it, the serf will be shifted to Mr. B lands. Means they can change master when the master sells the land. Means totally bounded with the land. They are not free. No freedom is there to them. They have to work for long hours. No rest was there. So much oppression they have to suffer. So this is the meaning of the term serf. After describing these terms, in the next video I will talk of other topics of this chapter. Thank you.